Hi everybody and welcome back to the Order of Narvosc. This is session 51, From the Frying Pan to the Fire. We hope you enjoy.
We came back in to our fight with Theron. We ended up taking out several of his thralls, but the difficult part was his regeneration, as well as the other extra attacks that he was able to take. He could get us down a lot quicker than we were able to get him down. During the fight, I do remember Ruby thought I could make a deal, and then that didn't happen with Carovia, and Carovia left, and whenever things were looking real bad, Quirin circled us up, and Beltov said he was going to stay behind, and we teleported away with 2 party members unconscious, and we landed, it seems like, in the Spring Court, and there seems to be expectations about archfey duties.
Perfect. Take a point of inspiration.
Yay.
And where we pick up, the sweet scent of the Feywild and the metallic scent of metal and blood clash as you all materialize in the center of a glowing teleportation circle. Those of you who are currently conscious and not out of it or down, you hear gasps, you hear the sliding of chairs, you hear the chink of a sword or swords being drawn. And in this deep, very deep, almost melodic voice, looks like the Spring Archfey has finally decided to join a meeting. Velphie, roll me a death saving throw. You all are hurt. You all are bleeding profusely. Barely able to stand if you are on your own 2 feet. Professor Friedrich's body is still. Very still. A chunk of his throat is missing. And he is bleeding onto this very rich and decadent wooden floor. Velphie is currently lying on the ground. The light from her eyes are fading as they're slowly starting to close. You hear people very excitedly, very nervously, very cautiously whispering amongst themselves. You hear the step of clanking of metal moving forward. And what are you doing?
I think I teleported with Velphie. I think my hand was on hers. And I think she'll just kind of sit her up and start to check on the wounds and see if there's anything she can do to stabilize.
Okay. Do you have a potion? Do you have a spell? Or are you just trying to stabilize what's currently there?
Stabilize what's currently there. I don't have any healing stuff on me. I think we used them all. And I can check Velphie's, pouches to see if she has anything.
Okay. With Velphie not having anything, go ahead and roll me a medicine check. The DC is a 15.
Okay. I got an 11.
With everything you have just experienced, how do you fail?
I think as she's going through the pockets and trying to find something to like staunch the wounds on Velphie's neck and her arms, she's just reciting like herbs that she knows out loud and like just checking every nook and cranny she can in her bag and whispering, "Wasn't supposed to go that way. You're not supposed to be like this again. Wait, this wasn't supposed to happen again, Velphie."
And while that's happening, what is Quirin doing?
I think teleporting there, kind of getting hit with these, with scent, with the familiar sounds. I think he had his one hand with one of Fred's, and I think the other with Van. So I think he was down on a knee, staring at the ground when the teleport happened. So he stays there for a second, just taking in all the familiar, like I said, scents and such. Standing up and then looking at everyone in the room, I assume familiar faces.
Ooh. With looking around this room, you realize you're in the middle of a petrified wooden table. One of those tables that is circular except for one little spot that looks like an entryway, and the center of it is completely open. So that way whoever is at the table can look at each other or look who is at the center. You don't recognize the room you're in. You have never been in here. And everyone in here looks very different. And they're from different courts. You notice the wood that this room is made of creaks and groans as people start to make their way towards the center, like they're trying to encroach on you and looking at you through the sides of this table where there are 6 different chairs. You're in the middle of a council meeting, dropped dead center. This room seems to bend and move with how some of the people in this room feel. And it looks like it's been grown rather than it has been built, as it is made from a colossal tree that seems to be growing upward. But it braids together, and there are small gaps within the wood that have been filled with these beautiful stained glass windows. All the windows are different sizes, different shapes, in order to fit how nature has formed around this room. Moss covers the sides of the room, and it glows, these blues, these pinks, these purples. And there seem to be these thick branches that come across the top of the dome that act like beams. And you see these little, I shouldn't call them little, they're little heads, but most of their faces are covered with eyes. Big, big eyes as they look out from the top and they're looking down at you, and they tilt their head like, this is interesting. What is this? What is this? What is this? And everyone in here is watching you, watching the 5 of you. And these 6 chairs that hold individuals in them. Some are now standing up, but it looks like the chairs have quite literally grown around them to be a custom fit. Except for one.
I think taking all that in for a quick second or two, I think Quirin, a lot of they just came from a really shitty situation. So I think his mind is all over the place, but I think he was really hoping to see a familiar face. So I think he looks a little taken back by that. There's no one familiar here. And just looks up at all of them. Where's Pip?
As you say Pip, you hear from behind the chair that doesn't quite fit the person sitting in it. The person sitting in is a very little plump fellow who looks like he is about to cry. And you hear the clanking of metal from behind his chair as someone starts to run your way. You feel this pulse of energy go through the five of you as you hear the word move. You take 4 HP back, as for those of you who currently can. As this healing, mass healing word makes its way to you. And Pip is making her way. For those of you who can see, this individual is about 5'8", long brown hair that looks like it's got lighter and darker streaks in it that go sideways and look like they don't really have a pattern. And she's got it braided into this crown. She's got deep olive skin and green eyes. And she looks human, except for the fact that she has these cute little fluffy ears on the top of her head and a tassel tail that looks like that of a tabby cat. She makes her way around. Where's Anaria? How are you? What? I don't understand what's going on. Why are you here like this? And
I've answered your questions. Just help them first.
Who do you want me to help first?
I think Quirin is closest to Fred, so we'll hold Fred's arm up.
And as you hold Fred's arm up, it's limp. There's no life in it. There's no resistance in it. Pip will make her way around, and she gets on like hands and knees, makes her way to where Fred is, and she looks like she casts something. It's not working. It's not. How long has he been gone?
What? Oh. I don't remember. How long has he been down?
Y'all are very close to almost surpassing a minute.
Happened recent, 30 seconds? Minute? We're probably reaching that time soon.
And while this is happening, Velphie, you come to with 4 HP. Ruby, you feel Velphie start to shift. Are you doing anything?
I think if she starts to shift, Ruby just breaks down and is hugging her.
I think
I didn't know how bad it was. She's just crying and it's incoherent in your face. Yeah.
I think as Ruby kind of hugs Velphie, she's kind of sore, so she's a little bit, just making these little noises, and then she everything that just happened, or what she remembers, flows through her head. Was she already down when the professor went down, or did she see the professor go down originally?
I think you both went down around the same time.
Okay, so she wouldn't necessarily know that he was down then.
I think Ruby would tell you right when you got up, because she only knows you to heal people.
Okay. So everything that just happened with the fight kind of runs through Velphie's head. And when Ruby tells Velphie about the professor, she'll shoot up as fast as she can and try to find him. But I think she's a little disoriented because now she's in this place that she has never seen before. And she's just looking around trying to find him. And I guess at some point she would see the professor and Quirin kind of nearby.
Y'all were like holding hands in a circle, so y'all are like within 5 feet of each other. So it's not very hard to find everybody in this circle.
Okay. So she'll take a minute just to kind of look around, but then she'll start to make her way over to the professor and just like check to see what state he's in.
I'm not even going to have you roll for it. He's not breathing. A big chunk of his throat's missing.
So she looks at that chunk and her eyes start to well up because this was like her teacher, kind of in a way became like a father figure to her, you know, not so much a companion, but more of like a fatherly friend. So she feels this kind of very dull, but she's trying to force it, this like, oh shit, like this guy, like I need to save him because he's so important. And so she reaches very shakily into her bag of holding and she pulls out a resurrection scroll. And she'll unravel it and like very shaky hands just like lay it on his stomach, and she'll start to follow the directions.
And as you start to cast this 7th level resurrection scroll, the only resurrection scroll you get, you start to see Professor Friedrich's throat start to close and mend. But before we get to what happens, Professor Friedrich, as you are dying, what do you see?
It would be not coherent visions or scenes, but just flashes, almost like brief flashes of memory of different people, of Velphie and Ruby and Quirin in the battle that just happened, and then of Sydonea, his apartment, Kalandra, Axe and Z, Sammy. Just brief flashes of almost like quick photographs that quickly dissipate. But there's like this tunnel of, it's like this vignette closing in around it all.
And as that vignette starts to close in, you start to hear a melody. One that you don't really remember hearing. The singing is not that great, but you can tell that whoever is humming it, whoever is singing it, has tremendous love for who they are singing it for. And you start to see, as that vignette closes and closes, start to see the outline of an orc with the tusks. Their back is to you. You feel this tug from behind you.
I see an orc in front of me, facing away, and someone tugging, or something tugging from behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Turn around.
When you turn around, there is this small little pink that humming gets louder. Oh, Friedrich, you know how much you're loved, right?
I think so.
That comes from behind you.
I would turn back around. Is the orc still there?
She is.
Is she familiar at all?
Roll me a history check.
Hey, yo, natural 20. That's a 30.
With a 30, you're old. 155, right?
Yep, I am. Sorry, that's what you said. You remember, you're old as hell. Yeah, 155.
You haven't heard that voice in 152 years.
I'm surprised I'd even remember it.
With a natural 20, you do.
Can I go towards her?
This is where you have to make a choice. You feel that tug from behind you, but you feel that pull to the person in front of you. How resurrection works is you have to choose to come back. Do you go forward into your afterlife where your mother is sitting before you, or do you choose to go back? If you take a step forward, you're choosing to move on.
I think with the memory flooding back, what I thought would have been a lost memory, there's a profound appreciation for what she did for me in the most vulnerable time of my life, but also a realization that moving on now means leaving things undone, things that she helped prepare me for, whether she knew it or not. And it would almost feel like a betrayal of her sacrifice. And as that realization sets in, I start to back away.
And as you back away, you see a masculine figure step in with elvish features. As you start backing further and further, as you know, as you back away further and further, in order not to betray their memory, you're leaving them behind.
For now.
And with that, we're going to pan over to Velphie. You continue casting this spell. Your scroll begins to fade, and as this resurrection scroll fades, what does this magic look like as it's coming from that scroll, from you casting it?
I think with putting the scroll like on his stomach, and it starts to glow, probably like a soft pink color, and it just starts to like, it almost looks like it's sinking and dissipating at the same time, like it's imbuing his body with the resurrection spell.
Professor Friedrich, how do you wake up?
Given how peaceful that memory was, I think it would be slowly, not with a start or anything, almost like waking up from a very, very deep sleep, one of those naps where you don't even know what year it is when you wake up. But slowly, very sore.
So Velphie would have been like watching his face to see any sign of it working. And I imagine then with him having a slow start, she sees that and just visibly relaxes. And then she'll just hold his hand and just kind of wait for him to like fully wake up.
Coming back from dying with this kind of magic, resurrection is not like a revivify. There are consequences to resurrection because it's a harsh magic, even though it is a beautiful one. You have a -4 to all of your ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws. And each long rest you get, that -4 will decrease to -3, -2, -1. You have no scars from this, as resurrection does replace missing pieces. It cures natural diseases, but you do not have a natural one. You still have, for the time being, and for the next 6 days unless something changes, disadvantage on your intelligence checks.
Do I awake with a memory of that decision I just made?
You do. And with coming back with that kind of decision, that kind of weight. Sometimes death takes things. Sometimes it changes things. Does death change anything for you?
I think it will. But I think it's something Friedrich doesn't yet realize. It'll be a mindset shift that may manifest in other ways. I think I would just slowly open my eyes. I see Velphie leaning over me, holding my hand. And just sort of knowing what happened, then I'll just reach my other hand up and lay it on top of ours and just, after a long moment, just look at her and say, you didn't have to do that, but I will be grateful for as long as I live. That's an odd statement to make now.
She gives this like half-hearted chuckle. Of course I did. We need you around. You're not allowed to go until this is over.
That sounds like an order. I won't disappoint.
She just kind of lightly chuckles, and then she'll look up and just kind of not sure what else to do now. Just kind of look at everyone, just very confused.
How is everyone else? And I'll slowly, I don't want to be able to sit up. I like roll over onto my stomach and look around.
And while that's happening, because all of this is happening pretty fast, Quirin, you had something.
I was just going to say, shortly after Fred comes to and we notice that, just sitting back down and putting his hand on Fred's shoulder. You live another day just to get a little bit older. Welcome back.
Now, I won't begrudge getting older anymore. Maybe it's good to get older.
Yeah, you're good at it.
Well, maybe not so much, but thank you.
And just give a little nod to Pip with a smile.
And while that's happening, what about Ruby?
She's also frantically checking on Van to see if he needs any sort of like stabilization.
Roll me a medicine check.
Okay. 8.
I think the panic of seeing Van like that, his clothes are ripped, like you see this big gouge down the center of his spine to the point where you can see bone at how deep this is. And everything is just soaked through, and he looks at you with these glazed over eyes. Roll me an Arcana check.
Oh, it's a 1.
But you're proficient, right? In Arcana?
Am I?
Are you?
Yes. Oh, I totally am. It's a 22.
Okay, with a 22. Whew. You know he has made a pact. And he was very adamant at the fact that he could not delve into details. And he delved into details when he was charmed. This is the aftermath of going against a pact. And that is your mother's magic.
I think she'll do her best to like make him comfortable, and then she kind of has his head in her lap, and it's very gentle, but it's still very protective as she takes in the scene around her.
And as you all take in this scene, Pip will look at Quirin. What is going on? Where have you been? We were just told Spring Court Archfey was here, and you're not her.
She couldn't make it today. I'm going to be honest, I don't even know exactly how we all got here.
You all see and hear, because again, you all are in the center of a round table. You are currently the center of attention. And this plump, tiny man whose seat he does not fit in. She's gone, isn't she? She's not coming back, is she? Here, and you recognize that voice as Barnabas.
I think he would... I think he'd lock eyes with Barnabas, trying to just... Yeah. I think he's kind of, with his eyes, is trying to tell Barnabas, like, let's not bring this up right now. And we'll respond to him. I don't know where she is. I don't know when she'll be back. I think I'm in the same boat as everyone else has been for so long.
Roll me an insight check.
15?
With a 15, he's not very good at hiding his emotions. He does not understand. But it's very easy to pick up the fact that there can only be one archfey. And everyone here knows that they're in the presence of one.
I think that's the part. I don't think Quirin understands how that works, so I think he's still just trying to play it off as such. But I don't know where she is. I hope she'll be back at some point.
As you all are coming to and looking around this room, you do see these, again, tiny little heads at the top of this dome where the branches overcome it. And these tiny little heads with big eyes are just looking down at you with these fuzzy little ears that kind of twitch back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You hear the groaning and constricting of wood as this room gets darker. And you hear the squeezing of the table to your right. Or to your left, depending on how you were sitting. Explain, Spring! Why is it now that you show up? We know who you are. And it is not who we expected. Who are you? And who are these four that you bring with you? They are not from here. Why are they in a council meeting?
He would put his hands up. These are all friends. No need to worry about them. Hi. We were in a bit of a pinch. Used what magic I had to get out of there, and we ended up here.
So
Wherever
not
exactly.
only do you infect our courts, you decide to bring outsiders in.
That does sound really bad.
And if you all look at the person who is speaking, you see someone dressed in reds and browns and oranges. The perfect depiction of autumn. And every time he talks, it's almost like a few leaves come off of his shoulders and fall to the ground. Grips that table tightly, and every time he grips it, you can see how tightly the fingers grasp it, but you can't see skin because he's covered in fur. And he's got this long snout, and he's got these golden eyes, and he looks just like a fox, bushy tail included. He's tall, and he's elegant, and he is glaring at the five of you. You will answer, Spring. For this is a council to declare war on you, and you are declaring war on us.
I haven't declared anything so far. I don't think I've ever declared anything in my life. And I think Quirin is just finally just kind of understanding the weight and the intensity behind this guy and behind the situation. Hands still up, palms out to this fox looking guy. Inaria is gone. Gone. Seems like you might have already known that part. Has been for... It's recent, but not very. She blessed me with her powers, her magic, whatever all that may be, and like I said, we were in a bad situation, used it. I tried to go home, but we ended up here.
Pip will look at all of you, and as this conversation's happening, she is pumping a lesser restoration into Friedrich, and you see that magic. Professor Friedrich, lesser restoration gets rid of diseases. As she casts that, and she is looking up at you and the rest of you as that is currently happening. What do you mean it's been passed to you? Archfey can't do that. And you hear behind Barnabas voices, very loud, angry whispers, very... Roll me a perception check to see if you all can hear it, and you may all roll this.
And to convert, Barnabas is not the fox. Barnabas is a different portly guy.
Correct. Barnabas is in a chair that he doesn't fit in. And he's this short little plump guy who looks like he's about to cry. He did not want to be here.
Okay. 6.
17.
17 as well.
Natural 20 for 28.
With a natural 20, we'll come to that last. With a 6, just out of curiosity, is that with a -4?
It is. I rolled an 8 + 2 -4.
Okay. You're just coming back from death, and you see this cat-like woman leaning over you, and you start to feel that fire that was in your head start to disappear as that burning sensation that has just sat right behind your eyes starts to go away. With 17s. Behind Velphie, you don't know his name is Barnabas, but behind this tiny little fellow, plump fellow, you hear almost like he is a dividing line. And to one side of him, angry whispers, angry frustrations, moaning, groaning, anger. And you all see these bright colors that depict spring with these capes and these metal plate armor that fits with the emblem of Spring Court. With a 17, this is a royal guard. And you notice every court has one. And they are all behind their seats. Swords are starting to be drawn. As you all entered, they're halfway unsheathed. With a natural 20. Do you want me to say it out loud, or do you want me to whisper it to you?
You can say it out loud.
Okay. Erendor, this wasn't supposed to happen. Why is this happening? And Thara was supposed to take over. This isn't possible. This isn't possible. How is it going to him? This isn't what is discussed at all.
Quirin, what do you mean she gave you... When?
When we're fighting those greasy, slimy people. It was then when I think Vel and I were having a hard time with that one. She saved us and passed over what she had. And that was enough to take her out.
And no one else knew? Because they're saying that... And Thara's... I heard them say that name. But she was supposed to take over.
everyone will feel that mental connection hit again. And then in the mind, does that name mean much to you?
It does to me, no, but the way that they said it over there sounded like someone in the middle of a plan that now you sit in.
They had an heir, someone to take over.
Gonna kill us? You didn't take it. We would know if you took it, right?
This is not something that I stole. This was given. A gift. That doesn't feel appropriate, but it's the best term for it, I think.
The fox leans down. Professor Friedrich?
Did you say it was the mental connection in everyone's head?
Yeah. So that second part, that everyone heard that part.
If I have any wherewithal about what's going on, I mean, I didn't hear anything, but I can at least see people are mad, right?
I think you can hear it. And before you continue, the name Anthora was mentioned out loud by Ruby, correct?
Yes.
Before the mental. The fox leans down. And it's almost like he's so tall that when he bends over, he leans over the table. And his snout almost looks like it's coming down on you. Who's Anthora? Roll me another perception check, please.
All of us?
Yeah. All of you. If you're looking around.
Sure, I'll look around.
18.
11.
21.
I roll the exact same thing. 6.
With a 6, you have not been near archfey. You've heard about them. You've read about them. I think you know that these are archfey. The stories of archfey are true because this does not look natural. You have a giant fox looming over you. That is a sight you did not think you would be ever waking up to, especially after you just died. Velphie's was an 11?
Yeah.
Okay. And as you look around this room, one person does catch your eye, and she is sitting behind this creature, is the best way to put it. None of the people sitting at this table, besides Barnabas, look natural. Look like something that is naturally produced without some kind of magical influence. Behind this creature, this feminine figure with yellow skin and emerald green hair that looks like leaves off of a tree that are firmly on in the middle of summer. And her eyes are this solid black, except for this glowing yellow pupil in the center. You see a summer Eladrin, who you know is V, is staring in the center of that circle that you all are in horror.
I think she would lock eyes with V. And I don't, given the energy that she's picking up from around, I don't think she would say anything. But I think in the best way possible, she would kind of communicate to V like a kind of help kind of vibe.
Okay. As you kind of try to communicate that help, roll an insight check.
Eight.
With an 8, you can just see this fear across her face, like this was unexpected and she doesn't quite know what to do with that. And that is all you can get with that currently. Everybody who rolled higher than 11, you also notice the Eladrin you all met in the apple orchard. When you all first, well, not all of you, but when some of you got to meet V for the very first time. With was it a 17 or an 18?
18.
18. You pick up on a few other people at the table. You see Summer, the definition almost of Summer. And then next to Summer, you see Spring's chair does not fit, but Summer's fits her proportions, her figure perfectly. The room is making itself form and fit the archfey. Springs, there's one chair that does not fit, and it's Barnabas. And you get the idea, because Spring's archfey is not sitting in it. You also see some other people next to that. Next to Spring is Winter, almost like the definition of winter, as she looks cold, she looks icy, and if you stare at her too long, that chill that you get that runs from the back of your neck down the back of your spine enters. And she is this feminine-like figure that looks like she's carved from ice, as light reflects off of her and you can't quite get a definitive form as you see light coming from her that has been reflected from the stained glass windows. And with the different color light, she looks like she's made of different colors. And she's got snow white hair and reindeer antlers that sprout from her head. And every time she moves, snow falls and lands and melts into that wooden table. And then next to her, someone, it's almost like a magic you've seen before, and it reminds you a lot of Mother, but not quite. As you see this dark robe where the figure in it just wavers and flickers, and multiple shadows come from it on the ground. And it's like mist and shadow have made them completely incorporeal. You can't see a face, you can't see a mouth, but you see 3 or 4 different shadows in every direction. With a 21, you see all of that. But you also see light. The light archfey is about this tall, about 4 or 5 inches, and their chair has quite literally grown up tall and is this tiny little miniature chair for them to sit on. As you see a masculine figure with these sheer wings that protrude from his back. His clothing is iridescent, and he's got a darker skin that glows this like dim silver, and then dim yellow, and then gold, and then it almost goes back and forth in this cycle. No one at this table looks naturally made, like power has influenced them. Is this what will happen to you? As all of their royal guard sit behind them, as these 6 different stations have all brought their guards. The job you used to be a part of for Spring, you know what that entails.
And from the voices that we heard earlier, like in what direction and how close were those? I know Quirin didn't get like the specific words, but just the general.
Roll me another perception check, because you know where they're at. You do see that they are maybe 5-10 feet behind the council, where a guard would normally be. The same uniform you used to wear.
Okay.
Now, what was that perception check?
24.
With a 24, I think you can tell one side of that group almost look like they're seething, angry whispers. The other side just looks confused, almost like Barnabas is a dividing line. But with a 24, your eyes connect with Arendor's. And you know it's Arendor, even with his helmet on.
I think with the history of animosity or negative vibes that Arendor has given Quirin in the past, I think he'll meet Arendor's eyes and just smile a little bit. Just like this really just cocky, smug, just smirk. Seeing that they're upset that their heir didn't get this.
With that, hold on one moment.
Okay, wait, I take it back. Don't hurt us.
I'm just sitting on the floor like a toddler. I don't see any of this. But I wanted to ask, I heard the conversation between Ruby and Quirin and the mind thing about, this isn't something you took. I didn't steal this. And Friedrich was conscious during everything that happened with Inaria. So do I know what happened to her, or would it just be a guess?
You've rolled for this before. And you know that there was some kind of power shift there. Because you did roll for it previously.
And I know that she's gone.
Yes. Because you talked to Pike, and Pike said she's gone. Mom's gone.
And that's exactly what I was wanting to say, which, again, I don't know any of these other conversations. I don't even think I can see above the table. I'm not sure from where I'm sitting. Technically, I'm on my stomach, so no, I can't see anything but feet. But it's going to spur a memory, and I'm going to say, in the mental connection, I don't know what his word is worth, but can Pike attest to what happened? Where's Pike?
GM, Pike wasn't there to be shifted, I don't think.
Pike was behind your back. He sits like right on the crook of your neck and the back of your hood.
Okay. I think Kieran's eyes will widen a second and he'll just like reach back and try and feel Pike back there.
Are we okay? Why are you gripping me? Are we all right?
Yeah, we're fine. Just might need you to prove I'm not lying soon.
I will try, but I don't really think they like me too much, and I don't really like them that much either.
Yeah, I think, if they don't like us, and I don't think we like them right now either, so it makes sense, but just want to be sure you're here, that's all.
I'm here, I didn't go anywhere, I promise, and you haven't gone anywhere either, so that's nice.
Hoot.
Lots of hoots. Hoo, hoo,
and he actually starts hooing, and everybody can kind of hear those tiny little hoos coming from the back of Kieran's neck behind the hood. And again, y'all hear the groaning and the dimming of this room happens. I asked who's Anthora?
I think eyes move from Arendor to the one talking. I don't know this for certain, but I think it was supposed to be the person that was set up for my new position.
Barnabas will pick up. I don't know an Anthara.
I don't either.
So who is... As you made that grin and that smirk at Arendor like you have ruined his plans, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Why? Why? Is this... Is this a spell or a charm by chance?
This is not. This is a spell, but it is not a charm.
Okay. Where's it? 17?
Meets it, beats it. As you start to see shadows coming into your vision, your sister specifically. What is your deepest fear revolving your sister?
Ooh, I think... I think it's not only being able to save her, but I think the greater fear is that Quirin would have the ability to save her, and he's just a little too slow to do so. That something could be done, but then just isn't, I think, is the specific part of the fear.
So out of the corner of your eye in this circle, almost like the entry point to where you come into this section of the table, on the floor, you see that virus, that infection spreading. And then there's nothing you can do as you take 10 points of psychic damage.
I think from looking at Arendora to then this interaction with Barnabas, I think was the one asking about the name, or the Autumn Archfey was asking about the name. His eyes would then shift to wherever this vision is. If it's on the table, I think is what you said. I think his eyes would shift there. This isn't the first time Quirin has had visions like this, so I think he does an okay job of not reacting too much to it, but his eyes are just definitely locked on the table for a brief stint. And will probably shoot up whenever the next time someone talks, but at the moment he's just looking at where this is.
Okay. Is anyone else doing anything during this time? You all are surrounded by archfey. There's been talk of war being declared on spring.
I'll just start trying to stand up. Beyond that, I've missed most of what's going on.
I think Ruby will just say through the link. The chair does look like it would fit you. We all see that, right? It doesn't fit him. The little one. The scared one.
suppose so. I mean, even if it's my chair to have, it doesn't feel like it's my chair to have. I think Quirin will stand up after that. Just with the explanation of the name to the Autumn Archfey, is there any reaction from him about that?
Reaction to or from Autumn about not knowing who Anthara is?
Yes.
Roll me an insight check.
11.
There is nothing portrayed on his face because you can't quite read it because it's not a normal face to look at. But as you're looking at his face, someone else starts talking as Pip moves her hands to you and starts casting Lesser Restoration, and finally your hands stop shaking. You hear the scraping of ice against each other. 2 ice cubes that have just scratched. Do you know why everyone's here? Spring?
I remember hearing that if all the Archfey ever meet, it's usually for nothing fun. War, I think, was mentioned just a second ago, and I think that's the context of this meeting, right?
You are correct. Do you have any idea of what war is being decided here?
We just got here.
But you're here, and one of these seats is yours. And then you will hear a different voice, a more masculine voice that has like this little light step to it. Like light refracting from something. A darkness is seeping out of your court, Spring. We're here to declare war on you.
Because of a darkness that we can't control.
You will hear a voice that sounds like a mixture of different names, or not names, but different types of voices, different genders, like a mixture of so many things at once. A problem you can't control is seeping from your court, from your people. You may have just gotten into this role as you are not her. We haven't seen her for over 40 years at least. But this is your problem, and it is coming from your court, and it's seeping into ours.
I think Quirin will just silently nod his head, and after a beat, he'll cautiously take a step, trying to get out of the circle. And as long as there's no reaction to it, he'll slowly walk his way over to the chair. And not sit in it, but just kind of put his hand on the back of it. As he's on his way, though, something I don't know how to control. What have my people been doing to remedy it so far? And as he says that, walking, he's looking at Arendor as he's saying that, especially with the my people part.
Okay. And as you're asking that, as you're moving, what are Ruby, what is Velphie, what is Ruby, what is Professor Friedrich doing in this moment as Quirin is making his way out of this table?
I think, because Velphie was still holding the professor's hand, so she would have been helping him up. during all of that, but I think because she was unconscious, right, when Anaria came and gave Quirin, so she didn't see it, and Quirin didn't say anything about it, so she doesn't really know what happened. She doesn't know that Anaria's gone either, right?
You do know Anaria's gone because you don't feel that pull and you don't have those powers
Right.
anymore.
Right, okay. So I think Velphie is just trying to put all the pieces together, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. So she's probably just kind of looking around and just helping the professor.
Yeah, I think Ruby is still just with Van. And I guess is ready to potentially shoot anyone who makes a move, like aggressive move at Quirin.
And you're staying in that circle as you're kind of getting ready to shoot, or are you getting up and moving Van as well?
Does it look safe to move? It seemed like we were kind of surrounded by people.
You are definitely surrounded, but it doesn't seem like anybody's making a violent move towards you. But roll me an insight check.
Okay, that's pretty good. 23.
With a 23, you can tell everybody's, for the most part, relaxing in, because this is what you now know is a war council you have kind of just plopped into. And now that the archfey of spring is here, who was supposed to be here, sounds like they haven't been here for a very long time, though. Most everyone is sitting back in their chair to have a discussion, except for Spring Court, half of their guard.
Does there look like there's a place where we could kind of get out of the spotlight a little bit?
There's under the table, specifically underneath the table where Spring Court sits, where this little tiny dude is sitting, that looks like he's scared and doesn't know what to do. But the walls are covered, and behind each chair is full of armed guards that you do not know.
I think I'll stay put then. I don't think we're going under the table.
You were able to stay put, and no one says anything about you sitting there. What about Professor Friedrich?
I think I'm really just trying to come to with Velphie's assistant standing up, but I feel discombobulated. I have the collie wobbles. I'm a bit confused. I don't know exactly where I am, and I seem to have fallen into a political situation I'm entirely unfamiliar with, so I'm going to remain quiet and just sort of try to regain my bearings.
As Quirin makes his way to the seat and stands behind it, Barnabas will stand up and motion for you to take it.
I think he'll do like a double take at Barnabas and just kind of give this look of like, serious, like sure, like really?
It's yours.
Does it even make sense that even though it was given, it doesn't feel like it's mine?
It does make sense. But in this case, you're the only one that can sit there.
He does nod his head. Thank you, Barnabas. Not just for this, but for stuff in the past.
He nods.
She trusted you, therefore I will work with you.
She trusted you.
She was one of my dearest friends.
Just put his hand on his shoulder, squeeze it, and just pull the chair back and walk in front and just kind of slowly sit down into the chair.
Okay. And before we go on to what happens there, Velphie.
Velphie would have been following Quirin and looking behind the chair then. That's where the spring court guard is. And is she able to tell that clear divide between half of them being confused and the other half being furious?
You rolled high enough to where I described that for you, right?
I think so. Yeah, 17, right? I think.
Okay. Then yeah, you can tell that there is a divided line.
Okay. So I think just really briefly, as Quirin is sitting down, she'll just, in the mental connection, she'll just say, "Doesn't look like everyone agrees you should be there."
Nope. Especially the one, Arendor. And Kieran will just give like a quick physical description just to point him out so everyone knows who he is. Especially that one. If you watch anyone in this room, please watch him.
Velphie just gives a slight nod.
Roll me a history check. Velphie. And Professor Friedrich, if you wish.
26.
Did this Pip character actually cure my disease? That is a 12.
Okay. With a 12, there's a lot going on right now and you're in the middle of a war council. With a 26, that description matches almost, I don't want to say perfectly, but there was someone like that at the Order's ball, but a lot bigger and a lot older.
Can I think of what they looked like more?
With a 26, very tall, towered over most. Very large man. Green skin, brown eyes. Roll me another history check.
He was at the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
26. No, 25, sorry.
With a 20, you said 26, 25? Okay. With a 25, recalling that information of that description from the ball, you pull it over almost. And you remember the fight in Limbo. And that owl mask walking out. You remember the fight in the prison and that owl mask walking forward. The slight smell of sweet. Anytime they showed up, anytime you saw them. And it's like the three blend together.
Could I put together that they're related or the same person?
The description Quirin gives you is younger. And he's here.
All right, we killed Owl, right?
You did.
Okay. So there's some sort of connection between Andor and Owl. All right. Gotcha. Okay.
And with that, Quirin, you ask that question and you aim it at Arendor and you take a seat in that chair. There is a pulse of magic as you sit down. Would you like to describe the power that Quirin holds for Spring Court? What that feels like as you sit in that chair?
Oh man, okay. I think as he sits down in the chair, I think as he sits down in the chair, as soon as he touches the chair kind of like has a pulse of light that goes through it. And then after that pulse leaves, little kind of flickering lights, very tiny flickering lights kind of appear on the chair, almost like lightning bugs that just kind of are scattered throughout the chair that kind of flash every now and then. And if I can take it this far, that following that pulse that leaves the chair and gets quite a bit dimmer once it reaches the floor and the walls, but still transfers over there. As it reaches maybe the top of the walls, maybe some greenery, some light greenery starts to form around the top, like some moss, maybe a few leaves, so on. Just like injecting life into it.
Like the rebirth of spring. You sit down and that takes hold in that chair. You can feel it rumble slightly as it starts to form to a perfect chair for you, as you are now the rightful heir to sit in this seat. Everyone at this table sitting in a seat looks unnaturally made, power influenced. As you sit in this chair, your visage begins to shift. Above table, this is only while you sit in the chair. What do you look like as a spring archfey?
Man. And if I'm understanding the descriptions, at least in the that you gave previously, like you said, autumn kind of looks like a fox, winter just has like snow, ice, and so on, yeah?
They embody their court.
I think the sudden, like at least immediate change to the form that Quirin has is his skin becomes a little more fair, where before it was like pale, kind of like or gray. There is a little more color in that. Hair turns black instead of the light blue that it has been. Probably some short, young antlers maybe start coming out the top of his head, one on each side. And I think there's a new line of freckles, just very, very noticeable freckles, kind of span from like cheekbone over to cheekbone, just going across his face like that.
And you all see that change, and you feel that pulse, and you see the greenery, the moss that starts to grow at the top near Spring Court's chair, as Quirin takes on the visage of an archfey, that unnatural power-influenced visage as he sits down. And with that question being directed at Arendor, that intent, roll a persuasion at advantage and add your proficiency bonus. As you are the leader of that court, and you feel the emotions, you feel the connections, you feel that line to almost everyone in your court.
At advantage, adding proficiency, yeah?
You got it.
Okay. Math, 7, 19.
Okay, with a 19. And that was advantage?
Yeah.
Okay. You hear the rattling of armor, and you feel a shift behind you and a clunk as someone hits one knee and bows. Our people are doing what is necessary.
This is Arendor.
Mm-hmm.
I trust that it's necessary. Stand and give me specifics.
Roll persuasion again, same way, advantage plus your proficiency. And you all do see this happening. And while you're rolling, Barnabas will pick up next. He's standing right next to you like a right-hand man would. I've already told you, Anaria was stuck on the material plane. We're fixing the issue best we can without worrying the civilians of our court. We've been trying to do that, and we haven't figured out where it's stemming from. But we're not intentionally trying to spread this. You all know this. I've said it so many times. You know, we want the rot gone too. Maybe we could work together and figure this out. Maybe... I don't understand why you're aiming to destroy a court of Fae in itself. What'd you get?
I added it and I forgot. 23.
As Barnabas says that, through clenched teeth, to the point to where you can almost hear the grinding of teeth and what that sounds like, and almost the cracking of teeth, as you get the sense that this person who is kneeling behind you does not want to say anything, but the power of an archfey commanding him to do so. We're doing what is necessary. This is your fault. You do not deserve that chair. This is your fault. If you hadn't have stolen it, none of this would have happened to begin with. And you hear all of the archfey in this room shift to wherever Arendor is behind Quirin. You all see this, you all hear it. That anger has been directed towards one individual, and it's not any of you.
Quirin doesn't really respond to, physically, visually respond to what Arendor is saying. What is necessary? Whose idea was it to do what is necessary?
Roll persuasion again. Same way.
Please be better. So, 22 to 3. No, 22.
With a 22... Again, y'all can tell this person is gritting. Are you looking at him or are you still facing forward? Have you moved your chair?
I think when asking the question, just going back to when he asked the question and then sitting down, I think Quirin sits down and looks out to all the archfey, expecting one of them to answer, but then just puts out just the finger of like, wait a minute, and then turns to Arendor. So now I think he's been facing Arendor.
Okay. And as that intention is to shift towards Arendor, you feel that chair. It's almost like the vines in the room mold to yours and the archfey's intentions. And it twists, and you can hear the wood twist as you don't have to do anything to move it. And before we go into that question, what are the three of you doing?
I feel like I can't really leave Van, so it's still just kind of like on guard, kind of taking in everything. And like, I just want to make sure that no one attacks Quirin.
And as you're sitting there with Van, the woman from earlier who had hands on Friedrich, had hands on Quirin, goes over and you see this tabby cat-like person holding her hands over Van to cast something.
He broke a pact. It's in his... It was inside of him. I think it burst out of his bones.
Oh my. I don't know if this is going to do anything. But I will try. And you're going to see her pull out the smallest bag, dump it in her hand, and it's like this broken jewel, this dust of something extremely bright and glittery and pure. She'll hold it in that hand and squeeze it, and it's almost like she shoves it into his back. And she starts saying things in a language you don't understand, and her hands start to glow. You don't see a healing of that wound. Roll me Arcana.
Ooh. Math, 31.
Okay, with a 31, you can tell that this isn't necessarily healing magic. She's trying to remove something. And as she casts this spell, it's almost like this tiny fragment of Mother Mortem's magic is plucked from the side of that wound where the skin is very thick. And it seeps out and swirls and then slowly dissipates. She'll look at you. I can't break a pact. It's still there, but this... What is causing this not to coagulate? What is causing this not to mend? I think I've gotten most of it.
That was it. It smelled like her. Like sulfur and holly. That was more than I could have done, so thank you. I like your ears.
You see like a blush cross her face. I like yours too. You're always so round. And then she'll cast a Cure Wounds on him, and it's almost like you see the stitching of skin. That glazed over look is still there. But you can feel that he just puts his weight into you. Are you all right?
I think we started a war. It's okay. I'll pat his head.
War, not all that I care about is you.
I believe you.
And he kind of, like, eyes flutter closed. And he is just unconscious to everything currently. But no one looks like anybody's about to attack Quirin. No one looks like anybody's about to attack you. And Pip is kind of moved her body to where she's covering you from autumn, but left a clear view for spring.
Okay.
Friedrich, are you doing anything?
I always have a problem of like speaking and getting us into trouble. I think what I would do if I can do two things. One, can I get a general, is it possible to insight check the vibe of a room?
The DC will be higher, but yes.
I want to try to sense the general level of hostility and see if it seems to be decreasing or increasing.
With not knowing these people, your DC is a 20.
That's cool. I have a +2. -4. I have a -2. Wouldn't you know? I rolled a 9. So, no, actually, I rolled a 7.
With a 7, you're not sure. You just learned about the Feywild recently. These people, if you're not Fey, will make you dance until the leather in your shoes break, until you have blisters all over your feet, and then you can't stop unless a Fey asks you to stop. So you do not know.
Given all that, I think I'll just say in our mental connection, is there anything any of us can say or do to help ease this situation, Quirin, or do you think we should just remain quiet?
Still trying to get a good read on the situation. So as far as specifics, I don't know, but if anything happens to cross your mind of something to say or some thought, please chime in at any time.
Okay, I'll watch for the opportunity.
I think my goal at the simplest is to just not go to war. I'm hoping that's achievable.
They're having
And
a
not
discussion about it, so that's a good start. I'll just observe then. But I'll try to be like, I have this mental fog going on. So I'm just going to try to be extra observant.
And Velphie?
So she hears the conversation between Quirin and the professor. But very, very quickly afterwards, She'll ask Quirin, did Arendor have a brother, bigger, older?
Damn, is this stuff that Quirin would know?
You remember going into that house from that divination that you saw and seeing a picture that had Arendor in it. There were no brothers, there were no sisters. There was just his mother and his father.
I think he's the only child. Kind of acts like one. No offense to any only children.
None taken, I guess. I think there's a mole in the spring court.
How do you mean? I'm learning a lot about my home.
I don't know that I can explain it really quick. I just remember someone matching very similarly to Andor's description at the ball. I believe it was Owl.
If the description was close, then father, mother?
It's male, so probably father. Just keep an eye out.
We dealt with that one though, right?
Yes, he's gone.
Guess Quirin won't respond to that.
And then she just kind of watches very intently.
And with a 23 for persuasion, and he is still on his knees, or one knee like a bow. If we did nothing, Spring Court would... We would lose Spring Court. You stole the key. You took it. If you hadn't have taken it, this would not be occurring, but I will make sure that it goes properly and that everything is taken care of so the right person can ascend.
I think Quirin presses his lips together and looks deep in thought, like he's trying to connect dots. I think he's really thinking back on the key part. That's encouraging to hear, Arendor, but you still haven't directly answered my question, so please stand and tell me what's been necessary.
Roll me another persuasion check.
I can only roll so high. 20.
I've told you what is necessary.
And I'm asking you to say it again. Enlighten everyone else in this room.
As he stands, as he has been commanded, the archfey in this room are now all staring at Arendor. You will hear the booming voice of summer. You will do as spring commands, or your head will fall. And I expect spring to take it.
Maybe this isn't half bad.
Roll persuasion at advantage, plus your proficiency, plus an extra 5 from her with the help action.
It's time to roll 2 natural ones.
No, you did not. Okay.
No.
Oh, okay.
There was a natural one. That's just the first one that I saw. You said plus 5 as well from her.
Mm-hmm.
29.
Okay. He stands. You hear the clink of armor. I was meant to create a bridge for a god to help spring. And the only way I could do that is by sacrificing those not worthy.
In the mental link, Ruby just kind of whispers subconsciously, "That sounds really familiar."
In the mental link, Velphie will ask, "God named Erebus?"
Before any other questions are asked, how do all the other archfey respond to this? Like, has the vibe shifted?
Roll me an insight check.
I just dropped my die. 21.
Okay, with a 21, their shifted gaze has gone to half of the royal guard that stands behind Arendor. There is a rot in your court, and they know where it comes from. And they start to shift their gaze to you. And you will hear the archfey of darkness with those multitude of different voices that comes in. What will you do now, Spring? The rot comes from you.
This key that this one speaks of, it's unfamiliar to me. And Quirin will grab his bag and just set it on the table in front of him. Whatever this key is, you can look through everything I have. It's right there. I'm not sure what this is.
Arendor will pick his head up. You stole it from my family. You know exactly what it is.
And you are speaking out of turn.
How does that magic look as an archfey says that to someone that they are in power of?
I think another pulse beats from the chair. If I may, if I can take it this far, that as that pulse goes through, kind of the same as how the greenery appeared at the tops of the walls, the greenery appears around Arendor's feet, and maybe some vines or branches connect to his feet, his ankles, if I can take it that far, DM, if that's fine.
And those branches grab a hold of his feet. Another archfey will look at you all. What do you do now, Spring? Once again, the rot is coming from your court.
That has been made abundantly clear. First, I want to echo what Barnabas was stating earlier. This is something we all want gone. War, in any capacity, would not help this situation. We want this gone, I want this gone. You declare war, we have to focus on two different things. We can't put all of our resources, all of our focus on getting rid of this rot. So before anything, patience, please. But if this key of something was stolen and that's what started it, we find the key. Get it back. If there's something else to be discovered that needs to be done, we do that. You all saw me arrive here not that long ago. A lot of this is still unfamiliar. I don't have a blueprint, but I will.
You hear Arendor almost struggling against the vines that have put him in his place. Don't you understand? If you hadn't stolen the key, this wouldn't be necessary!
Can we put a vine around his mouth?
You can, and this room conforms to who sits in that chair, who is an archfey, and a vine whips from the top and surrounds his head and completely gags him, like it removes his helmet. You see it shove it off pretty much and stick it in his mouth, and you still hear him fussing against it.
After that happens, we'll just turn to him. We'll break the mental connection with everyone just for a quick second. We'll make one with Arendor. So in his mind, we'll say, any quarrel, any issue you have with me, by all means, talk about it. Just not now. We'll figure this out. We'll find you your key.
The key has been lost for 30 years. This would not be necessary if you had left the key alone. Don't you understand that? They're going to kill everyone in Springcourt if we don't.
If we don't find this key, if we don't return the key?
No, the key is inconsequential now. He's already here.
Who? The god that you wanted this bridge for?
Yes. Why do you
Who
think
and
we've
where?
been... I believe his name is Erebus. And if he does not get what he is owed, then all of Springcourt's gone. I don't give a shit what happens to the other courts as long as our court's fine.
What is he owed?
Souls, thanks to you stealing the key. Everything's gone because of you.
I think Quirin just looks at him and breaks the mental connection and then re-ups the one with the whole party. Erebus is the god. The bridge. Seems like he's here. I assume here is what Arendor calls it is spring somewhere, and he wants souls.
You may all roll me a history check if you wish.
One.
Not proficient.
I doubt it. Oh, I feel like I'm not. No, I'm totally not.
27.
Nat 20 for a 26.
Did Quirin want to roll one?
Oh, sorry. I also got a natural 20.
Okay, we'll get to the natural 20s in just a bit. With a 27, you know the signs of when Erebus is in a location. You've seen it. A lot. You saw it in the Barbarian, your first mission. Barlow, what that looks like. You saw it going to and from missions, that black inky, that rotting that happens. You saw it in Aurora, those students who have been turned into these creatures that hope takes care of. You saw it in Narvosc's son. That corruption that takes over. That you know now is the devouring of a soul, corrupting of a soul. It's happening here. With 2 natural 20s, y'all know all of that. As well as the first person who got it here was Eve. That corruption that happened 152 years ago in Shadowfen has made its way here. And it's trying to break in with a natural 20 for Quirin specifically. Stealing that relic foiled the plans. It was supposed to have happened 30 years ago.
Has there been any talk, or have we seen any sign of Eve since that time we saw her weeks ago?
No.
In the mental connection, I'll ask Quirin, where's your sister?
I'm not certain. I don't think she's where we left her. When we met Anaria, she was kind enough to task Barnabas to find her and to bring her somewhere safe. And that's as far as that got. Wasn't found.
And forgive me, I'm having trouble keeping up with what's in a mental connection and what's set up and all that. We know that the people in the room that are angry are talking about Erebus. They mentioned him by name.
Arendor mentioned that to Quirin, and Quirin shared that with everyone. In the mental link, not no one else.
this is Friedrich to Quirin. I can't quite tell how convincing you're being to them, or how convinced they are, rather, to not pursue some type of crusade against your court and what I'm assuming would be our world. But I may have an idea to convince them of our good intentions if it comes to it. It's risky. It involves your sister. It would likely involve bringing her here, or them to her. Last resort.
Brad, I trust you. So if there's something you think that would help at any point, that any of you think would help at any point, I meant what I said earlier. Please do. Speak up. Others might tell you to be quiet, but by all means. I'm figuring this shit out as we go, so...
But I don't think I can do what I want to do, because I don't think I have all my stuff with me. It would be back with Beatrice, wherever she is.
What are you hoping that you have?
I want to read back through my book I have and check that soul cleansing spell again.
You have a bag of holding. Did you leave it with Beatrice, or did you put it in your bag of holding?
I didn't state. I wasn't thinking about that when we went down the hole, but I don't have the spell memorized.
How about we do this then? Roll a d20. 1 through 10, you have it. 11 through 20, you don't.
Okay, this one just rolled a 20, so hopefully it's going to be low. It's a 10.
1 through 10, you have it.
I'd like to fish it out of my bag and just thumb through it in a non-threatening manner. It's definitely not a spell book. It just looks like an old textbook. And read that soul cleansing spell again at the back.
And as you read that soul cleansing spell, do you need me to read that to you, or do you have it?
If you would, because I don't see it in Beyond.
Soul cleansing. You touch a creature whose soul has been corrupted for no longer than 100 years. This spell closes all wounds, neutralizes any poisons, cures all magical contagions, and lifts any curses affecting the creature due to corruption. A crystal worth 1,000 gold pieces is needed to cast the spell, which the spell taints. A tainted crystal must be cleansed in holy water before it may be used again. This spell cannot bring back parts of a soul that are missing.
Okay. After I read that out, I will speak up again in the chat. If it comes to it, maybe we can prove our intentions by helping your sister as a display, as an example of we're capable of combating this thing that they are blaming your court for.
I think that'd be good. I'm hoping they'll believe me with the intent, but having something like that in the back pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, if it comes to it.
And at this time, one of the archfey, light archfey, will toss, or fly over actually, drop a axe in front of your table, and as soon as it drops, it goes from being his size, which is like 4 to 6 inches, to a great axe for that of an executioner. Get rid of the rot then, and prove that it is not you.
Just looks at the axe, looks at Mr. Lightfey. I thought the condition here was that if he talked, then he lives.
You still have a rot in your court. Purge it.
He'll reach out and put his hand on the axe, but he's not gonna like grasp it or pick it up just yet. Intend to take out all the rot. Every single ounce. You intended to go to war. I assume then you had some plan for said rot. With all due respect, how was war going to help? What was your blueprint for this?
They all look at each other, and light is hovering towards the center. When a crop has rot, when a tree has rot, when something is decaying, you cut it out before it spreads to everyone else. You can either do it, or we will eradicate your entire court.
I figured destruction was the route you wanted to go down, but just wanted to hear it out loud from you. And he'll stay sitting down, holding the axe. We'll make a new mental connection with everyone in the party and Arendor. Where's Eve?
I don't know.
He'll grab the axe, stand up and turn around. I had visions. I saw things. Where's Eve?
I don't know.
I think Velphie will kind of softly clear her throat, and she'll look at the light archfey. Archfey Ithilroy, I believe. This kind of rot will spread regardless of Spring Court's eradication. It's out of their control.
He looks back at the royal guard and looks back at you. Seems like someone's been spreading it, but it seems like you, or at least you're pretending to know more than me. You are not from here.
not. I've read about your realm, and she looks around at the archfey and those in charge. Where we're from, this rot has taken a hold, and it is relentless. It's impossible to contain. It grows, it festers, it penetrates, regardless of how strong.
Because someone
So what-
perpetrates it.
Yes. Someone has brought this rot to our world and to yours.
And had you gotten rid of it sooner, you would not be in the predicament you are in, would you? But therefore you would not know. How old are you? 20 years, maybe?
I may be young, but forgive me, I have more experience with this rot than you do.
Maybe.
I know what I've seen.
But
I
you
know what
weren't
I've
there at the
experienced.
start either.
I
Therefore
wasn't.
you have no idea how to eradicate this either.
Don't.
So do you have more
Right.
experience with the start of it? It does not appear
Not
that
with
you
the
do.
start. But we're trying to end it.
And how
Not
has
just
that
in our
gotten
world,
you?
but everywhere. It's gotten us here at this point. We're
Bloodied,
finding the origin.
bruised, and half dead on our doorstep. That is not very confident in your abilities.
We may be bruised and broken, but we persevere. We push on through all of this because we want to stop it. We want to protect everyone, not eradicate because we're scared of it spreading. We want to help everyone. It doesn't make sense to wipe out an entire court because you're scared of the rot spreading. It's going to spread, regardless of people dying by your hand or not. So the
Well, we're
best
giving
thing
an
that we can do,
opportunity.
the opportunity you give us is to help us figure out how to end this. Help us figure out what we can do to stop it from spreading in the Spring Court and in our world.
We're giving you an opportunity. And he points towards Quirin and that great axe.
What is it that you intend for him to prove with this?
That the rot will be gone.
The rot won't be gone if he kills anyone here.
And he looks at the half of the guard who seems confused, and then the other half who seems like they are seething and angry. Like they don't quite match up. There are two goals here at play. One being just wanting the Spring Court to survive, and the other half is doing something nefarious. Didn't you tell me that someone perpetrated this in your world? If you get rid of the
Yes.
perpetrator, you don't end up with what happened in yours. I've been alive much longer than you have, and I have witnessed what has happened in that plane. Had you gotten rid of the source, this would not have been a problem. Had you not been weak, this would not have been a problem.
Had you any compassion, you would understand. Have you any compassion, you would understand that we are trying. We may not be as strong as you are or as magical as you are, but we are trying. We are working with what we have in our realm to protect our people, just as you are, with your own, with your courts. You understand that feeling. We both have an allegiance to our realms, to our courts, if you will. And we all want to protect them. We all want to make sure they survive. That's all we want.
Roll a persuasion. Your DC is a 30. And the reason being, you are not an archfey. You are not from here. This is a war council between courts, which you belong to none.
Okay.
Can we attempt the help action? When Velphie is speaking, those same lightning bugs that we described that kind of are around the chair and such, that some of them shift under her feet, as in, like, she has the power to speak here.
Roll at advantage. Your DC is still a 30.
I am going to burn an inspiration. Once I find my count. Okay. Can I use another inspiration, or is it just one?
How many inspirations do you have?
Now I have 2.
You may burn another inspiration.
Okay. Okay. Natural 20 for a 33.
With a 33, he looks you up and down. Then tell me, since you are so adamant, how would you do it?
I don't know the state of the Spring Court, but I know the state of our world. I know those in charge who are pushing this rot, perpetuating it. If we can get to them, our chances of ending this are much higher. If you care about your realm, your courts, you'll consider aiding us.
Just so I understand this, you're saying the getting rid of the perpetrators in our realm does nothing, but us aiding you and your perpetrators, the destruction of these people works. How does that make sense?
I won't pretend to know the inner workings of this entire scheme. But in our world, there are people working with this rot. And they know how to stop it. If we can stop them, we can take that knowledge and stop it here.
He turns his head to Spring's archfey. This bides you time, nothing more.
How patient are you willing to be?
You hear another archfey. Time is different between our realm and yours. How much time are you asking for? And you're asking us to let that one and his coup go?
Let's see. Oh. Above table, what was it? It was the... Maybe I'm trying to be too specific with time, but like, I think it was the 8 or 10 years that Quirin was gone when he was shifted over to the Shadowfell. Only like 2 years or so passed.
To make this fair, roll me an intelligence check and I'll give you the numbers so we don't have to do the math here, because I've already done the math.
Okay. An intelligence check.
Yes.
Ooh. 23.
Okay, with a 23, you know that 1 year in the Feywild is 3.3 years in Shadowfen. One year in Shadowfen is 4 months in the Feywild. And if there is differences between time between your two realms, there are definitely different times between their realm, your realm, and what seems to be a lower realm that you all have gone through. That cold area, that is darkness, and time seems to move differently there. You do not know the time shift with that.
In the mental link that no longer has Arendor. How specific with time do we want to be? A week?
A week here or a week back home?
A week back home?
Will we even stay here? Will we get pulled back like we have been before?
At the moment, there's no reason to expect that we'd be pulled anywhere unless we really wanted to. I guess it's always a possibility.
Real quick, Professor Friedrich and Velphie, roll a history check. Ruby, Quirin, roll one at disadvantage.
Natural 1 for
21.
for a 7.
21.
18.
6.
Okay. With a 6 and a natural 1, nothing comes to mind here. There's so much going on. This is not a realm you're from. This is not something you understand. Ruby, though, you know that time has shifted a lot between your plane and Shadowfen as well, though. Because Van looks much older than just you were gone for a couple months. With those two higher rolls, you both know or remember hearing stories that happened about 130, 120 years ago when you arrived at Limbo, about how this group went to Ashen Ward and tried to fix the issue then, and how wonky time got. They thought they were gone for a couple weeks. They were gone almost a year. with those 2 history checks, I think you both realize you cannot eradicate this in a week of their time.
Time between the realms is hard, given what we've been told of when this first started. Time varies even in our own world. It could be weeks, it could feel like weeks, but it could be months, a year. Especially getting closer to Ashenward. So keeping Arendor and whoever else they're working with is beneficial to find out what it is that they've done and what we can do to stop it in the meantime, but I don't know how long we could give them in good faith.
And Quirin will look at Autumn. I assume that's the one that's been speaking.
It's actually been Light that's in front of you.
Ben
Lord.
Light. Time is in flux. I don't know how long I'm asking for. I'm just asking for patience. And as for the others, the would have been coup. Alive. At the moment. It's a thought of ours that the one who built a bridge for Erebus to make his way over here, the one that helped, would be the best option at trying to destroy it. Keeping him alive, but not free.
What do you suggest then?
We're going to take Arendor back to Spring. Dive into what he knows, what he's done. If we can figure anything out with that, try and connect the dots to what we know from our world, the previous world, and go from there.
And if this spreads further?
If it spreads further, it kind of seems like we'd be doomed anyway. We've been straightforward that none of us really have a great idea how to stop it. We're at least giving you something new that isn't a crusade from one spot against any one group.
Light will fly back to his seat, and the rest look between each other. You do realize, and this is summer, you do realize what you're asking.
I understand.
If this spreads and affects my daughter in any way, I will make sure that eternity will be too short for you.
Quirin will give like empathetic, like just a little grin, like I understand. I'm sure you will. But I have hope. We won't get to that.
Hope only takes you so far.
Fear takes you even shorter distance.
Someone else at the table. Winter. You do realize that's how the material plane has kept it from spreading, correct? We are doing nothing different than what mortals have done. And it has protected them so far.
What we're talking about here isn't... We are not offering another Band-Aid, something to hold it at bay. What we're offering is an extermination. That's what we want. Yeah, people have held on, slowed it down. People have survived. But if the problem isn't fixed, then yeah, you can maybe get a good few more years in, but fate'll be the same.
And we're supposed to put our lives in your hands. And Summer will look at each of you, the 5 of you.
It sounded like there was talk of a collective effort, so perhaps it's we're taking our lives into our hands.
Exactly. We're risking the same things you are by trusting us.
With whatever we decide to do, however we go about it, it would be easier if we're not fighting each other. That's the only way this gets done.
The rot that is in this room do not go to spring. They stay here, neutral ground.
I think since we've talked away into this point, Quirin isn't going to push it, and we'll just nod in agreement.
You hear snapping, and you see a collective of guards coming into this room, and they wear no color. They're specifically a part of this neutral territory that are meant to protect it from all archfey. They will stand at that door and wait to be told on who to escort. And they look at you, Archfey of Spring.
If we can just describe the dividing line of the ones who have looked pissed and seething previously and separate them from the ones that have more just looked confused, just drawing that line in the ones who have been seething, all of them.
They do not say anything. And you see these magical constraints coming in that bind every single one on that side of this line, like almost like they had split themselves apart They tie them up with binds that cannot be broken magically. And you hear all kinds of cursing in Elvish and Druidic and all of the language of the Feywild. And you can tell that like there's animosity here, trying to hit back, trying to fight back. Everyone except for Arendor, at least. As he just stares you down.
I think we meet his eyes. We're not doing anything. We're not responding. We're just meeting his eyes.
And it takes a while, but they are escorted out. After time passes while this is happening, do you all wish to do anything?
Just something small as this is happening. I think Kieran will just go to Pip. Just walk up to her. Just put his hand on her arm. Give her a squeeze and just a nod of, and maybe a whisper of a thank you for helping.
She gives a quick nod. You're gonna have to explain this.
Yeah. I'm not sure how yet.
Yeah, you just disappear for 2 years, and then you come back as an archfey, and then half of the guard's gone, and she just kind of goes off on this, like, quick talking, like, what the fuck, as she kind of explains all of these scenarios, and she doesn't let you have a word in edgewise for a few moments.
After a little bit, we'll just try and, like, put hands on her shoulders, try to, like, have her focus for a second. Whenever we do go about this, we'll take it just point by point. We will talk. We will figure out what all happened, and you can update me on everything that's happened for you, too.
That's how long are you here for?
TBD.
She gives you a weird look. And you all do notice that the summer Eladrin is leading down talking to the summer archfey. Looks like she's nodding. What about Ruby?
Oh, she's still just with Ban. Yeah.
What about Friedrich?
Do we still have the head connection going on?
Arendor is not part of the mental link, if that's what you were asking.
Not that it may matter directly now, but just curious, do you think there may be something else more nefarious at play here? Other than someone trying to cut out the rot? Could this be an opportunistic power grab?
Sydonea was.
Cast blame on Spring Court. Give a reason to take out. I don't know how the politics work in this world, but cast blame on someone, treat them as some exiled threat, take over for the good of everyone.
I don't exactly know how the politics work either. I just work here now. But I would imagine if it was a power grab that was thought out by all of the archfey, then they wouldn't even give us a second to breathe. I'd imagine.
Maybe not all, but I don't know, it just seemed odd to me, if I understood it correctly, that they wanted to get rid of this rot, but they didn't want to strike at the source. They just wanted to take out the Spring Court.
I don't know how much of that is just not knowing exactly how this works, how it's spreading, or if there's something happening. As I mentioned to you, Quirin, Owl and Arendor looked very similar.
Roll me an insight. Everybody, if you wish. Hearing that.
Me too?
Mhm.
Okay.
17.
10.
8.
What was Ruby's?
18.
18. So 17 and 18. Velphie, Friedrich, y'all don't know this realm enough. Y'all don't know these people enough. You don't get a good grasp on what exactly is happening here. With a 17, you know archfey. You have worked in this kind of situation, never having to go to a meeting like this because they're extremely, extremely rare. But you know the workings of Fae well enough. The body language of the people in this room are more so like, spring is the source. Get rid of the source. Spring is the source. That is where this rot is coming from. And like a plant, if you cut it out, it can't spread. If you separate it, it cannot spread. The vibe that they give off is that they truly think spring is the issue. Spring is where it's coming from. They don't understand necessarily what this rot is, but they know where it comes from. With an 18, you also get that. The courts don't necessarily seem nefarious towards each other because every other court in here seemed to be working together. This isn't something that usually happens. These are very, very rare. But even in immortal lives, some people are corrupted, and it seems like someone in Spring was.
I just thought it seemed like their primary concern was immediacy and probably going on what they knew, which was how to govern their people. I watched most of it, at least from a good vantage point. If there was a power grab, it was well hidden.
I'm beginning to wonder if Anaria wasn't able to come back because she was being held back. And I'm really hoping that they'll see this as we do what's right for the realm, which is save the people, stop the rot. And that means all courts, Spring included.
And as you're having that conversation, Summer, who sits next to Spring, and always has, probably always will, looks at you, those pitch black eyes with those bright yellow pupils, looks at the five of you. Summer will answer your aid if you call.
Can Velphie find V and kind of... Well, okay, so you said V was talking to Summer, right?
Mm-hmm. V was leaning in and talking to Summer.
Could I try to figure out if that was V kind of what's it called, like sticking up for us, or like trying to convince.
Yeah, roll me an insight.
There's 21.
With a 21, y'all have seen V. 2 of you have seen V 3 times now. For 2 of you, it's your second time, but you always have been kind to her. And for V, also knowing that you all live with Calandra, who at one point was her nanny, who she cherishes. At 21, you get the sense that she just asked her mother to help.
So, hearing that from the Summer Archfey, Velphie will look at V and just like kind of, not like a full on like at the waist bow, but kind of like a graceful nod, like a thank you so much type thing. And then she'll look at the Summer Archfey, maybe like for a split second, because she doesn't want to make like direct eye contact, because she doesn't know if that's like bad or not. So she'll just kind of like glance over and just, nod at her too.
And there is, you can't tell exactly with her face, but it looks like there's some kind of like soft smile there. And as that is happening, is there anything else you all have a conversation about here? And with that, you all have Summer's help, should you call. And at this moment, you all feel something grasp at your very being and yank you downward as you feel a rush of when you last left Spring Court. You hear gasps of fear. You hear unsheathing of swords, calling out for the Spring Archfey. As you all start to fade from existence, Quirin, you get in your head, plane shift to Spring Court. She's with, and it cuts off. As you hear Barnabas in your head, and you all feel that rush, that pull, that yank to somewhere else, and that's where we're going to call tonight's session. Thank you so much for watching Session 51 of the Order of Narvosc. Please make sure to check out our players' social media accounts as well. You can find those links in the description below. If you're excited for Session 52, please make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. That way you get notified when the next session comes out. Be the light that drives out the darkness, adventurer. We'll see you soon.